another topic that I'd love to ask you about, which is the SaaS apocalypse or the cratering of SaaS company valuations, which on one side seems very extreme and has hurt a lot of good friends of mine. On the other hand, even at Weights and Biases, we see more of our customers engaging with our products like a database, using agents to log into our software instead of humans. I'm curious where you stand on that.
Well, one of the few benefits of age is experience. And so I've been through a lot of cycles in our industry, from 9/11 to the financial crisis of '08 and '09 to the SaaS sell-off and COVID, et cetera. So like, this is, this is significant. I don't think we're going to get back to the multiples that people have enjoyed in the past. So I think this is a new normal in terms of what companies are going to trade at. I think it's a little overblown. And I think there are companies like Datadog and Snowflake that are being incorrectly associated with SaaS companies like Salesforce and ServiceNow and Workday. I think they're very different. I do think, so valuations go up and down. Like, I try to tell our employees that all the time. Like, I've seen companies where employees get so fixated on a stock value and a valuation and a stock price that they get drunk on it, and the hangover is rough when all of a sudden the valuation gets cut in half. And you've got to have a long view. Not everything is always up and to the right. It's been great for ClickHouse over the last 4 years, but we will be tested and tried like every great company over the course of decades. And that's kind of the time horizon you have to have in mind. I do think serving at the infrastructure layer is a very good place to be right now. And if you simplified it, it's kind of picks and shovels to the gold rush, which is everyone's going to need a database. And what are the characteristics of that database? It always comes down to price and performance. Obviously, when you have a hosted service, reliability is P0, durability, security, scalability, all those things. But when somebody makes the purchasing decision, it's going to come down to price and performance, assuming everything else is table stakes. And so I don't think we're going to get back to the levels that we all enjoyed in the past from a multiple basis. Just call it a multiple on forward revenue. I think these companies are being valued on their free cash flow dynamics more so today than they ever have been in the past, and the terminal value of the company in the future. More so than just expecting that these companies are going to generate 30 to 50% year-over-year growth. I think it's a really good opportunity for companies like ours that are well capitalized and private. And we're seeing that with Databricks, for example. I mean, they're re-accelerating growth on a $4 billion revenue base across a variety of different product lines. I think their data warehousing product offering is past $1 billion of revenue. Their AI-related workloads now is over $1 billion of revenue, and they're accelerating growth. So I think Databricks, ClickHouse, companies that are designing for agents, not humans, are going to get a lot of lift over the next N number of years. And I'm thinking about a world, Anthropic presented at our user conference last year with you, Lucas, when you were on stage talking about why you chose ClickHouse. Anthropic and OpenAI and Tesla were also on stage presenting. And Anthropic at the time asked Claude what they should be using for a specific use case. And Claude suggested ClickHouse. And then I was talking to the CEO of one of the largest fintech companies in Europe a few weeks ago. And he said, every LLM I ask what I should be using to re-platform our company suggests ClickHouse, which is great. So, but it still requires a human to make that request. I'm thinking about a world where these agents are actually selecting and provisioning the infrastructure behind an application. So you build me an application that needs to observe telemetry, whatever. And it's going to go, it's actually going to not just recommend ClickHouse, but it's going to provision a service, and it's going to stand up the stack. And it's going to not only have an analytical database, but they've got transactions that they need to store. So they're going to provision a Postgres service. And we're developing a managed Postgres service like many, but we've been thinking about this for years. It's in private preview today. It'll be in public beta in a few months, and it'll be generally available by the end of the year. And we're going to have this unified data stack where you can have both an analytical workload run on ClickHouse, and you can have a transactional experience built on Postgres. And it's not going to be yet another managed Postgres service. It's going to be the world's fastest Postgres service in the cloud.
But I guess when I look at Datadog, I'm also a fan, but I've been a fan for a long time, and I admire the team over there. But that seems like a harder position, honestly, doesn't it? I mean, they sit there at this layer where developers love them because developers are logging in and enjoying the thoughtful interfaces that they've built. But if it's mostly agents logging in, that seems like a massive disruption to their business model. And I do see more and more people just using ClickHouse directly as their observability layer rather than going through something like Datadog. And now you can easily build these custom interfaces for your particular application.
Well, I think that's a valid way to look at it. And it's as you know, it's impossible to look out 3 to 5 years right now in our industry. It's changing faster than I've ever experienced in my career. So I do think if you look at, 1 to 3 year time horizon, which is really the only realistic outlook, you can see Datadog still being a very meaningful supplier in the industry. It's such a premium product. People really underestimate how difficult it is to compete with Datadog and develop a comparable service. We tried at my previous company, and I would not say we were successful. So I think we have a reasonable view on how formidable of a competitor Datadog is and how high quality of a product it is. And I'll give you an example, Lucas. We use Datadog internally used in the past. When we were developing our service, it was the obvious choice because we had this incredibly compressed time frame to launch ClickHouse Cloud, and standing up a Datadog service for APM and logging and metrics was the obvious choice. And it grew like wildfire, like it does in many companies. And all of a sudden, I'm spending 7 figures. This is before I had any revenue on Datadog. Like there was a period where I was spending more on Datadog than I was generating in revenue as a company. And we also knew that you could use ClickHouse for observability, like you just mentioned. We didn't have HyperDX yet, so you had to rely on something like Grafana, which is another great product as an alternative to Datadog. And so we went to the company, and we were at the time about 100 people. We're now about 500. And we said, hey, we got to migrate off Datadog. Like we got to use our own technology. A, it's too expensive. B, the concept of dog fooding, drink your own champagne, whatever you want to call it, is really important. We can't say that we're a meaningful supplier in observability if we don't even use our own technology. And it was almost like we had a mutiny in the company. Like our developers, like you can't take data. It was like I was taking heroin away from a drug addict. They're like, you can't take my Datadog. I'm like, we have to migrate off of Datadog. Like there's no question we need to do this. It's just a function of how quickly. And it took us longer than I would have liked. And eventually we achieved it. And we authored a blog about what life is like on the other side of Datadog in terms of the cost savings and the performance improvements that we've received. And we published that blog. I would encourage anybody who's considering evaluating ClickHouse as an alternative to read it. It's deeply technical and provides a bit of a framework on how to go through that process. But I see Datadog being a very meaningful supplier. You saw their recent quarterly results and some of the big wins that they were able to secure at some leading AI companies. And so I do think that they're going to survive this and come out on the other side successfully. But again, like many companies, I don't think they're going to trade at the same multiple that they have in the past.
Are you feeling an impact of AI on your hiring plans, both on the engineering side, where we're seeing a lot of automation, and on the go-to-market side, where I feel like there's early energy around automation, and it seems to have slowed down, at least at this moment in history in 2026?
Yes and no. No, in the sense that we're 500 employees today. We're going to end this year closer to 1,000. So we're going to double the size of the company in 12 months. And that headcount plan has not come down as a result of AI. If anything, it may accelerate because our engineers are going to be 10 times more productive by embracing AI applications to make themselves more successful and their peers more successful, and to develop code at a much faster pace. There are functions in the company that we are automating that we didn't even have beforehand, like the concept of an SDR. when I started the company, I said, we're never going to have SDRs or we're never going to have CSMs because I think it's clumsy. And I think they're functions that mask other issues around product quality and sales efficacy. And I always think about the customer's experience and what it's like to be handed off from a junior inside sales rep to a quota carrying rep to a renewals manager that's described as a customer success manager, et cetera. But I think we can deploy AI agents that can serve a lot of those functions around lead qualification, demand generation, enhancing the customer experience, around giving them the information they need at that point in time, contextual help in the product, AI assistance, et cetera. The ability to query your data using a natural language interface through just some text prompt to say, hey, build me a stack bar chart that shows revenue growth over the last 12 months and break it down by region. I don't need to go to a data analyst anymore and have that individual create that chart. I can just ask LibreChat, which is an open source chat interface that we acquired last year, and integrating with Anthropic's model and our MCP server into a ClickHouse cloud service. And Lucas, I would highly encourage you to check this out for your own implementation of ClickHouse, where you can query your production data in real time and do ad hoc analysis. You can do situational awareness planning. You can do scenario planning, like build me 3 different possible outcomes, optimistic, pessimistic, realistic, and it will go and query your data, and the insights you're able to get from it are staggering. So that's kind of how we are using AI internally, how we're building it into the product itself, which we've been thinking about basically before ChatGPT. But it's not having a negative impact to headcount, to answer your question.
How is it affecting your engineering roadmaps? I mean, I feel like infrastructure is the place where AI engineering has had the slowest adoption. Do you allow, for example, AIs to automatically submit code into your code base?
There is typically a human review of code that goes into the code base. You have to remember, we're building a database. It's not like we're building a mobile app over the weekend, a dating app. Like, move fast and break things doesn't apply to a database. Like, if we don't have a highly reliable and durable and secure service, then we don't have a company because our customers won't trust us. And so it's a little bit different, I think, when you're developing this type of mission critical application, to just blindly commit code to it that an agent developed without some sort of human review, would be how I'd answer that question. But the amount of contributions and commitments to the code base that are AI assisted is significant and is growing every day. And so I would anticipate if that number is 50% today, within 6 months, it'll be 80%.